Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to discuss Marneus Calgar. Calgar is one of the greatest space marines to have ever lived. All know him as Chapter Master of the Ultramarines. Games Workshop has teamed up with Marvel to create a new comic book series. This comic book series follows Calgar as he battles against the traitorous forces of Chaos. In this comic book series there is something massive we learn about Calgar that has never been revealed before. This is new lore attached to the character. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled, please leave the video now, because the following information reveals a massive plot point. This is your first and last warning. The general story of the comic follows Marneus Calgar as he battles against the forces of Chaos Cultists and Traitor Marines. He is followed by a tech adept of Mars who has been assigned to study the reconstruction of the Ultramar subsector defences. The planet the forces are fighting on is called Nova Philium. This world was the world Calgar was born on. It's an agri-world that provides the vast majority of the food to the rest of the Macragge system. This world is not as high-tech as the others in the Macragge system. It mentions that a productive life beyond 40 is unlikely. One of the main story points is Calgar remembering his childhood, centuries earlier. It follows him as he aspires to become a space marine. Marneus Calgar is already a noble from birth, born to the richest house on the planet. His family has spent a lot of their resource on buying the greatest honour they could to achieve, having a son who bestrides the galaxy as a space marine. He is followed by three friends: Severin, who is a brute of a child, Kato, who has his wits, and Takatan, who is Calgar's helot. In just a year's time, the space marines would descend on the planet and pick a new crop of warriors for their trials. His father has hired a trainer for his son to make sure he would pass the trials and achieve his goal of becoming a space marine. Learning of his father's gifts, the two friends Severin and Kato show some jealousy to the privilege he has over them. But being the noble person he is, Calgar reveals that he has paid the instructor with his own inheritance to train the entire group of friends, even Takatan, the helot. The trainer is called Crixus, and we learn that he was once an aspirant himself, but failed. He swore an oath to make sure to train the children better than he was, so they will pass where he failed. That day, their training began. They would leave the planet of Nova Philium, as the planet they grew up on is too soft to make strong men. They would leave for the moon of Philium Minor, which is the testing grounds for all aspirants of the Ultramarines in that sector. Crixus drops the boys on the surface and tells them they must make their way to the weapons and shelter located on the other side of the valley. He tells them they must be quick, as the other groups he dropped off in times past didn't make it halfway because of the amble. The group of boys only just survived their encounter with the amble by leading it into a den of wolves. The creatures launched upon each other, which allowed the group to make its escape and reach their shelter and weapons. The training is harsh over the course of months. New children join the party only to be killed by the planet or the creatures roaming its surface. The bonds of Calgar and Takatan grow as Severin and Kato become their own group. Takatan considers himself weak and tells Calgar that he must go on without him, but Calgar said his strength comes from his brotherhood with Takatan. The two notice that Severin and Kato have become more brutal as the days wear on. To look upon them now sends a shudder down their spine. One night, Calgar awakes Takatan and notices that Crixus and the rest of the group are missing. Using their skills as trackers, they locate the tracks of the disappeared group, which leads them into a tunnel complex. They go deeper and deeper into the tunnels and stumble upon an old base, discarded and forgotten from an ancient age. They pass through the ancient corridors and stumble upon horror. Crixus comes from the shadows and knocks Calgar and Takatan down, taking them as prisoner. We learn that Crixus never let go of his hate of being rejected by the Ultramarines. He was the finest warrior of his year, but they thought him too pure of a killer. Now he is glad they didn't choose him, because he has discovered his true lord, Khorne. Crixus has used his influence to persuade Severin and Kato to join the Blood God's cause. Their final test would be to murder Calgar and Tacitan in a blood ritual. Calgar, being the noble and cunning warrior he is, manages to headbutt Severin and escape his grasp. He launches an assault on the altar where Tacitan is about to be sacrificed. Calgar and Tacitan fight for their lives, assaulting the cultists, but Crixus is a trained killer and stabs Marneus Calgar in the back, piercing his chest with a cornite blade. Tacitan grabs the injured Calgar and leaps from a cliff's edge into a pit of darkness. The two manage to land in a pool at the bottom, saving them from a deadly fall. Tacitan pulls the injured Calgar to the side and gives him words of comfort. He ensures him he will close the wound and get him to safety. But it's too late. Marneus Calgar will never be a space marine. Marneus Calgar died. He gave his life for Tacitan's. Tacitan's life would honour him. His name would honour him. Tacitan would die, so Marneus Calgar would live. It ends with Calgar gazing upon the memorial statue of his friend, the true Marneus Calgar, preaching that opportunities for vengeance will never end. And that's where we're up to at the moment. We're only on issue 2, and there's been some fantastic lore shared. I absolutely love that flashback bit to the kids and, you know, how Calgar became Calgar and stuff like that. I haven't even covered the actual main story to it. As I've just mentioned, this is just a flashback, and I thought I'd make a video about this because this is massive news. This is news I've never heard before. Maybe this is mentioned in an Ultramarine Codex somewhere else, but I've never come across this, so this is why I wanted to make this video and discuss it with you. All in all, the Marvel comics, I know there's a little bit of kickback from the community, people saying, oh, you know, they didn't like it, they didn't like Marvel getting involved. I very much enjoyed it. I would just say, you know, just pick up issue 1 and give it a read, and if you haven't tried it, try it. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's great. It's very, very brutal, very, very graphic, and I'm loving it. I can't wait for issue 3 and to see where they go from here. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I would love to hear your feedback on this part of the story and talk about the comic as a whole in the comment section. So yeah, leave your feedback down there. Have a great day. See you now, and bye-bye.